Today is our third day in our unit on the Revolutionary War in South Carolina, and this lesson on day 3 is going to be all about the different perspectives during that time. So here we have the word perspective in big and bold. Can some of you maybe tell me what you think this word might mean? So let's think about how all of these people had different experiences during the same time, including the Patriots, Loyalists, the women, the enslaved and the free Africans, and the Native Americans. All these people lived in South Carolina. Now, would you say that we have different experiences maybe at school? What about specifically at recess? Would you say that some of us live our lives very similarly, but we probably also have a lot of different experiences? We all have different parents, siblings, families, and friends, and all these things make us have unique perspectives on life. So let's look at these short definitions we have on this slide. Different points of view, different or unique experiences, different people, and personal ideas or beliefs. Do you think different types of people had different perspectives about the Revolutionary War? So get with your group and answer the question. You have a few seconds to determine. The answer is yes. People living in South Carolina during the Revolutionary War did not all want to fight. Some people wanted to stay British colonies rather than become a new country. But the Patriots wanted to become a new country. So who lived in South Carolina during the Revolutionary War? The Patriots, the Loyalists, women, slaves, free Africans, and Native Americans. And all these people had different perspectives and beliefs about the war and what was going on during this time period. So the Patriots. Patriots were actually also known as rebels, and they wanted to separate from the British rule. These soldiers fought in the Revolutionary War against the British military. They helped form a new country. They wanted to be independent from the British. The Patriots also thought that Loyalists were very self-centered men, and they were greedy, and that they wanted to stay loyal to the king because they wanted to benefit from staying loyal to the king, and that they were afraid of standing up and becoming a new country. This slide shows a picture of the South Carolina battle flag, which flew in June of 1776 on Sullivan's Island, which is near Charleston, South Carolina. It looks very similar to our state flag, except it does not have the palmetto tree. Instead, it says Liberty at the bottom. Why might it say Liberty? Because we were gaining our independence and we were seeking liberty for our entire group of 13 colonies. So now, once again with your group, why did the Patriots fight the British? What did they want? You have a few moments to work with your group and write the answer on your board. And the answer is that the Patriots wanted their freedom and independence from the British. The Patriots fought to have control of their people and their land. Next, we're going to talk about the Loyalists. They were also known as the Tories. That was a nickname for them. So, they wanted to stay loyal to the British king. They wanted the colonies to stay together under the British rule. They typically thought that Patriots were rebellious and lacked any respect for their king. They saw the Patriots as acting out of turn. They didn't really respect the Patriots at all. In fact, they saw them as troublemakers. So, the Loyalists stayed loyal to the British rule. What did they think of the Patriots' actions? And the correct answer should be something like this. They typically thought that patriots were rebellious and lacked any respect for their king. They saw the patriots as acting out of turn. The next perspective we're going to be talking about is from the women's perspective. Women during this time often nursed wounded soldiers who were wounded on the battlefield, whether they were at home or maybe even close to the battlefield. Women also took charge of businesses and farms and defended their homes and neighborhoods. They sometimes gathered information to help the soldiers fight in war, and they served as maids and cooks for the armies. Sometimes they were in violent situations while providing and helping the soldiers at war. Next question. Did women fight as soldiers in the war? The answer is no. They mainly worked at home, taking care of the family, businesses, and farms, and they also nursed soldiers. Sometimes they nursed soldiers near the battlefield, but that does not mean that they were actual soldiers. However, what they did for the military was very important, and without their efforts, the Patriots would not have been as successful as they were. Our next perspective is about the slaves and even the free Africans during the time period. For slaves, the most important thing was their freedom. The British military made large promises of freedom in exchange for military service by thousands of slaves. This took so many slaves away from Patriot plantations, or plantations that were owned by the Patriots. The British actively sought out slaves that belonged to Patriot masters, and because of that, more slaves fought for the British rule. Thousands of Africans who helped the British lost their freedom. Others, when they attempted to leave with the British and go back to England, in places like Charleston and Savannah, they were not allowed to go after they had been promised they could leave. And of the thousands of Africans who left the plantations, not many of them got their freedom at all. Why did most slaves who fought choose to fight for the British? The British promised them their freedom, but most of them did not get freedom. In our next perspective, the Native Americans. Native Americans called this land their homeland long before any Europeans came to America. Most of the Native Americans that chose to fight in a side of the Revolutionary War joined the British side because they believed that the British government would be more likely to let them stay on their land that they had inhabited for so long. Inhabited is a big word, but basically it means where you live or where you stay. Some Native American tribes did not engage in warfare during the Revolution. They decided to stay apart from it. Many Native Americans chose to fight for who? The British or the Patriots? And why is this? Usually they fought for the British because they thought they would be able to keep their lands. So now I'm going to give each group some time to name 3 new things that you learned today from this lesson. If you have more than 3 things, feel free to write that down on your whiteboard, and I will give you the opportunity to share with the rest of the class.